Hello YouTubers, my name is X Factor. This is some Silk Road Conquest size large where I'm going to be busting out the MVT, going on a little streak before this round ends, and talking about where I've been the last couple days. I've really had some bad luck lately. The weekend before, I had aches, pains, chills, and ridiculous asthma, and I couldn't move from the couch or the bed and just pretty much was miserable for 4 days with a fever. So I got through that, and my computer, not to be undone, said, hey, wait a minute, I need some attention. That decides to get sick. For those of you who do not know, I use Windows 8.1, and it's given me wonderful frames in Battlefield 4, and I've been extremely happy. The problem is not everything's compatible with 8.1, even though it says it is. And I ran into some blue screens of death. That's like the big no-no when it comes to Windows 7. Big scary stuff. Well, they dressed up the blue screen of death, and it's just as frightening. Let me assure you this. So let me talk about my tank setup real quick. On a map like Silk Road, there's all these open spots and long lanes that you have to worry about, and there's a ton of vehicles. The last thing you want is a shell that has a high arch and a very low speed, which is the HE shell. The HE shell is what I rock probably 70% of the time because it hits vehicles like a truck, and that's one of the major threats on a map like this. But the problem is, again, these long lanes. Look at that. Look at all this area I could get pelted from. So I run the Sabo shell on maps like this. It doesn't hit as hard. It kind of tickles at range, does the angular damage, but it has very little to no drop and a very fast tank shell. So it's going to hit where you're aiming for the most part compared to the HE shell where you'd have to put a massive lob on certain shots. And it'd just really be a waste of shell because if they start strafing back and forth, it's severely reducing your ability to hit that target at range. So with the Sabo, if they're strafing, if they're going back and forth, pillaring, it's really easy to time it out and hit them. In Conquest, I usually try to control the chaos. You'll see me go back and forth between flags a lot, contesting burns, getting on burns, and keeping the bad guys from establishing any sort of flag control, because that's how it starts in Conquest. If you let a team start inching their way towards a flag, they cap one, then they get another one, then they get another one, then they're in your backfield, and then they're starting to back cap you. And that's how it starts. So if you get there early, it's easier to stop the bleeding and potential pitfalls of what Conquest can really be. This D flag is where everybody fights over the hangars. It's a lot of fun, a lot of cover from infantry, and of course we all know engineers are the harbingers of death when it comes to armor. Vehicles in Battlefield 4 don't scare me unless it's an attack jet and my APS is down. It's the engineers, it's the support players and the recon players, because again, two classes have C4, engineers have slams, mines, javelins, RPGs, SRAWs, smalls. I mean, they've got a smorgasbord of death that they can bring. The law, which I think is the most deadly thing, because it's fire and forget. It reloads so quickly. If you get 2 or 3 people, you're done. There's nothing you can do. You can't break the lock. You're just dead. So that's my little rant on current tank play. It needs a little love, needs a little help. So let's talk about this 8.1 Windows blue screen of death. I'm very careful on my computers. I have 2 computers, a rendering streaming computer, which is a 3770K, and a 670 graphics card, which does the majority of my heavy lifting when it comes to processing videos. My gaming computer, as we all know, has the EVGA GTX 780 Ti, a 3770K overclocked, and I'm very careful what programs I have in this computer. I literally have TeamSpeak, Battlefield, a handful of games, updated drivers, and very few extra things because they can cause issues. No matter if it's Windows 7 or Windows 8, there can always be extra issues. So if there's something you don't need, I don't install it. So I've run absolutely smooth since the Battlefield 4 beta with Windows 8, and then with Windows 8.1 when I upgrade to that. Absolutely smooth. There's a program I use on my secondary computer. It's called Net Limiter, and this is pretty cool for people who stream or upload or doing anything. Let's say I don't want to choke out my internet, but I want to upload to YouTube. Well, YouTube would traditionally use every bit of upload I've got, which is quite a bit, and completely choke it out, meaning I can't play games, my ping's all over the place, I'm disconnecting, it's not good. Net Limiter allows you to set on an application basis how much megabits or kilobits you want to use. That's it. You can set it to a very finite number, any number you can decide. So if you want to use 70% of your upload you can do that. You click a button, and it goes. So that YouTube upload will not go past 70% of whatever you set it to, basically, which is your upload limit. So that gives you plenty of bandwidth to still download maybe music on Pandora, and then of course game and not have ping issues or connection issues, which is the goal, right? So I decided to download this program to my main gaming computer. It's like, I might have a use for this, because whenever I do a fresh install, which is not that often, I go through a checklist of programs I need to put back on, especially the drivers, you know, updating my BIOS and my chipset driver and other things. I do it all. So that made the checklist. So that thing's going great. I always turn off all auto updates. Doesn't matter if it's my Rocat gaming mouse, if it's Windows 8. I do all the uploads or all the updates, and then I turn that off. I forgot one. Come to find out, NetLimiter does this stealth update, and I start getting blue screens of death, which means I start my computer and it just gives me the screen and says, okay, it's going to restart in a couple seconds, and it's going to try to figure out the issue. Well, it was a loop of that. Couldn't boot into safe mode, couldn't do anything, and then all of a sudden my boot drive disappeared. The boot orders, basically, it moved on me. So after messing around with that for an hour, I decided to take it into my local shop, which these guys are kick-ass. They're absolutely amazing. So they start taking a look at it. They remove the net limiter for me, and then they fix my boot order, basically, so it just goes to the boot drive instead of my Windows 7 drive, and it finds that you know, every single time, which it should, instantly, right? So I have a 2.5-second boot. So I get home, and this is Friday night. Something's not right. My internet's disconnected. It's saying websites aren't available that I go to all the time. My other computer, which is in the same router, hardwired, is finding these websites just fine instantly. So something's up. So I bring it back to these guys on Monday. You know, I make it through the whole weekend, and I can't play games because I'm disconnecting left and right. I'm crashing. It's actually causing me to crash. Come to find out, NetLimiter hijacked my adapter and messed with a whole bunch of stuff. Not to mention, they run a check disk, and now I'm getting corruption issues. NetLimiter actually corrupted when we uninstalled, maybe before, it actually corrupted my Windows 8 install. So you're talking to me post an 8.1 Windows reformat, and it seems to be better, but I might be having some issues still, and I'm not sure if I am. It might just be a ghost in my head playing tricks on me. So I haven't gamed on it yet. The goal is to get this video out, let you guys know what's going on, and start getting the gaming on, because I literally haven't been able to do anything since Friday. It's been extremely frustrating. I mean, you guys have had to have done reformats before, right? That's got to be the worst thing in the world. Remembering everything, going through all the updates, the checks and the balances. It just sucks. So I've got a little gremlin in my computer right now. I'm trying to figure out if maybe it could be the Evo Samsung drive that could be going bad. I'm not sure, because I did get the error where I can't connect to a website still. Hope you guys enjoyed this quick little tanker footage. If you have any questions or comments, leave them below.